Welcome to my channel, and let's talk about my plans for the remaining 2 months of autumn. I looked at the pile of books which I collected and realized that of course it won't be plans for October, but rather for October and November. First, I have books which I color quite frequently. Autumn Charm by Teresa Goodrich. It's my must-have book during the fall season. I haven't decided yet which picture I will do next. I already colored several in September. Maybe next project I will do this one. A little bit crowded, but many things which I love, like those pumpkins, like those chrysanthemum flowers, lanterns. So I think that maybe I will do this one. As usual, I will do something in ivy. Probably after my last project I need something less detailed, so I think about starting this spread with ivy in the goblet. And when I do this page, where of course the biggest problem is empty background, then if I do something interesting for the background, I will be able to do matching background on the left. So currently I am thinking about some creative ideas to add to the background. Next, I promised to color a page in Kolorowanka, this page with mushrooms, so I need to start it immediately, because during the fall season I would love to do another one, which for me is maybe a little bit more inspiring, with this cute witch. They both are quite lovely. Here I really love this jar with mushrooms. Here I love the witch and especially her head. So if I want to have time for both of them, I need to color quicker and to think about color palettes for both pictures. I think that I will use Prismacolors this time. My last project here I finished with polychromos, and in this book I love to switch from Prismacolors to polychromos. In such a way I never get bored from this book. Maybe it's finally time for me to start this beauty. I think that I own this book for almost 3 years now. I remember that I received it before the war started, and I was intimidated by the beauty of this book. But my recent portraits, which I finished even on bad paper, maybe they persuaded me that I can finally do portrait on good paper. So if I manage to do blending there, I think that I will manage to do blending on the skin here. And the art of Christina Novak is so lovely. I especially love the historical facts which she put about each of the Polish queens. For me, as a first project, I selected this beauty. There is something very elegant in the shape of her face, in her huge eyes, and I especially love all of her jewelry. I think that I would do something like blue-gray veil, maybe even similar color of her dress, and a lot of pearls surrounded by gold and dark background. So something a little bit tender, dramatic, because her eyes, they are so amazing. I would love to do something something dramatic, something in limited color palette, and I will try to attract all attention of the viewer to her eyes. Oh, wish me luck, because I adore this book and I never have enough courage to start coloring here. Next, let's talk about the next pile of books and my reasons why I grab them from my shelves. So, Lost and Found. Here I want to do the title page. Unusual for me, because usually I skip title pages, but here we have this lovely collage of various objects, and I can color my favorite things like metals, like paper. I can imagine using a lot of vintage colors like beige, brown. Maybe I can even experiment a little bit with distress inks for the background. And honestly, I simply love how my polychromos pencils work on this thin paper. Yes, paper is far from perfect, but I think that with very nicely sharpened polychromos, it's quite a pleasure to color on it. At least I adjusted to this paper. I enjoy working with polychromos in the book about Frog and Adventures of Frog. So I think that here I also will enjoy a lot doing this one. Another good reason why I selected this one, it's because I can divide it into several small projects. If I don't have a lot of time after work, if I am tired, I can do just one element, another element, and it will be already a good progress. So, lost and found in my list. Currently, I am reading series of books by Naomi Novik about dragon. It's fantasy, of course. So, because I enjoy books, I was also inspired to color something with dragons. So here I have two books with dragon pictures. Dragon Nouveau by Herb Leonhardt, because I simply love his style. Yes, picture here it's totally not similar to the books which I read, because there we have male character together with dragon. Here we have beautiful hunters, but still all dragons by Herb Leonhardt, they are very nicely depicted, they are adorable, and they also are a little bit humorous. So that's why I think about doing this one. Dragon is another book which I selected. It's a third volume of Colorless Kingdom. It's more looks like illustration to the Naomi Novik books. So if I manage to do something with the background here, I will test several markers, color combos, because markers it's the only thing which works on this thin paper. If I manage to do something with the background, I expect that the rest of the image I can color relatively quickly. And I have in mind two color combos. A very intense orange wine red for the background and yellow crystals. Then my dragon will be in black color. Or if I do dark blue, almost black, like indigo background, then I imagine amethyst, violet crystals, and dragon, maybe it will have some bronze color. I have to decide which idea I like more, and then I will be able to start. Recently I did video about my progress in Tales from Stars, and that I need to fulfill my promise to myself to finish 12 pictures according to zodiac signs. I am totally behind my timetable. I need to color many pictures still in this book. So I will try to color in October this beauty. It's harmony of elements and the whisper of an angel. Well, names of pictures, sometimes I can't connect them with the picture, but picture by itself is beautiful. Another reason why I want to do this one, because recently I got a set of Derwent graphitins, but not pencils. I have pencils and I love their muted colors. So I decided that I also need a set of pens. You can see that colors are lovely, they could granulate. Here paper is good for water-soluble art supplies, so I think that they can be perfect match, those paints and this picture. I really need to test them somewhere on good paper, because granulating it won't appear on thin or very soft paper. So I hope that together I will use them for something nice. And of course, traditionally October and November for me are months when I color Halloween pictures, some dark gothic style pictures, portraits of witches, and what I selected for this year. Of course, Year of Witches. This book, which I hate and which I love in the same time. I still struggle each time. I do one page, it works quite well. Markers on the background, pencils. I'm happy. I start another project and background looks so ugly that I try to mask imperfections, I try to mask stains, I make it even worse, so struggle continues. But still, of course, I want to color something for Halloween. I selected this very simple page. I already decided that background will be in brown-red color. It will create good contrast to the orange pumpkins. About girls' clothes, I will decide later. Wish me luck with these marker backgrounds, because sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's ugly, and you have to do something to mask those marker stains. Maybe that's my skills, maybe that's paper, but I can't stop coloring in this book because pictures are lovely. Okay, let's move to the next one, where paper is much better. And in symphony, first I thought about something more simple, traditional, just with mushrooms, like this one. But I realized that pictures dedicated to Halloween, like this one, they have just one chance in a year to be colored. I obviously won't be doing them in spring, in summer, and we have lovely Halloween pictures here. I think that this one is probably the most popular. I tried during previous weeks not to look at Pinterest and Instagram, because otherwise this picture is everywhere if you look for Halloween and for Kanoka Yeguse. So there are so many beautiful pictures. You would be discouraged to start your own. So I tried not to look. I love this one, which I did during previous months. I think that I'm not ready for this spread, which is actually lovely but requires much longer time. Maybe. This one actually it's easier because I didn't saw it so frequently as I saw this one. I have to decide, and I need to start this project quite quickly if I want to finish it in time for Halloween. Well, Colorless Kingdom, especially second and third volumes, they are perfect for this dark gothic colorings, which I love to do during fall season. And now here I have two choices. The first one is probably more traditional, with this lovely vampire lady. Everything is very nice, but somehow I think that maybe this man, this lovely doctor, probably somehow he's a little bit more my favorite. Maybe because I don't color man portraits so frequently. Maybe it's easier for me to imagine colors for his clothes. I don't know. Maybe I simply love his face. She's also beautiful, but, well, choice is difficult. When I decide, I will color them. Oh, this book, which I always call as one of my favorites and which I never color. Actually, I feel a huge remorse about books of Jasmine Beckett Griffiths, which I love in the art style, in quality, but somehow during this year and maybe even during previous year I totally abandoned them. Before I color them quite regularly, maybe once a month, one in 2 months, but during this year I hadn't touched any of my Jasmine Beckett Griffith books, so maybe at least for Halloween, because here we have the whole book full of nice Halloween pictures, but I always loved her pictures which are dedicated to those vampires. Her story about family of vampires from Venice. Look at their faces. They look slightly more adult comparing to her girls, so that's why I love them, and especially beauty of their dresses. Again, I need to select between this one and this one. When I think about colors, here I would of course do dark background and her dress in blue colors, I think, maybe with some white halo around her figure. Here my choice would be something between red and orange, maybe with black trimming, black and gold embroidery here, and again dark background. So I started to do my color planning. I hope that at least one page in Jasmine Beckett Griffith I will do during this year. And it's also a good moment to remind myself that I have this beauty. And again, the same problem. I absolutely love everything here. Beautiful pictures, amazing quality of the book. But, well, not enough skills, not enough courage. For witches coloring, I think about this one because it's a little bit of cheating. First, I hadn't seen a lot of finished project for this book, so I can be sure that I won't be copying someone's works, because for more popular pictures I already saw so many nice finished works in colors that sometimes I think that I colored it already with my eyes. Here I can easily color the crow because I love to color black feathers, and I will find something for the beautiful enchantress. But there is another page which maybe I can do. It's also quite simple. Here I just don't know how to do the background. I need to do something with the gradient, maybe lighter around this magical crystal globe. So the background here is my problem. I won't tell you all my ideas because I hadn't selected all colors yet. Again, I need to start it because I feel that when I did my first project, when I feel paper better, it will be much easier for me to have a good progress here. The same thing I had with Nelko Neko. I was reluctant to start this beautiful book. I was afraid to ruin it. But when I did my first page, even if I wasn't happy with 100, then after I did the first one, I felt much more confident, and two next projects I colored with a lot of pleasure and I enjoyed them a lot. So far I have only 3 finished pictures, and it's a pity. In fall part of this book, because it's divided into seasons, I think about, well, this huge project, because I really love those leaves and berries. I love their dresses, but of course it's complicated. I will require probably the whole month to finish it. There is another project, this one, but I think that it's more actually suitable for November. Maybe I will move it for Thanksgivings in November. Oh well, I will be happy even if I manage to do only this small project, depending from the free time I have. So I will try at least to start this one. If no, I will select a smaller project. Final 2 books. My Beauty of Horror book, which I always color only before the Halloween, and I also hadn't touched it for a long time. Recently I was reminded about this book. Well, it's a little bit difficult to return to this book. I enjoy working here with my unusual art supplies like Derwent Color Softs, so it's nice to use my less frequently used sets. But this style of pictures, it requires some different set of minds to color it in beautiful color palette and to make it maybe less disgusting. So now I look maybe at this one. It has interesting frame, but very detailed. And maybe my second choice is this beauty. I can quickly color the wooden cupboard to do some highlights behind all those strange, ugly creatures. So if I do something, probably it will be this page. Before, I really enjoyed coloring pictures here, but after such a long break, it's a little bit difficult to return to it. And finally, my poor mythographic books, which I also recently totally abandoned, and this Wanderlust, which I also love and hate in the same time. Style of Alessandra Fuse is quite difficult, but I have this page which I wanted to color already for a long time. It's for Dios de las Muertos. Sorry again. So, you know, this beautiful Mexican tradition. I think that even if it's a very messy, very crowded, it can be done relatively easy. I think about blue-green background, matching highlights on the feathers, and of course a lot of bright flowers to highlight, to attract attention to her face. Well, so maybe in October, if not, then in November. Because I feel guilty, I hadn't touched my mythographic books during several months. I need to return to them. Well, of course, it's a huge plan. I know that probably I will be able to color only several pictures. Some books I will add during as an unexpected color choice. Maybe sometimes I get requests to do something from my followers. But as a basic choices, I think that it's nice to have some of my traditional books, some traditional artists which I color each month, and some of the books which I don't color very frequently, but they will have at least one chance in a year to appear on my channel and to be colored. Thanks for watching, and I will be happy to hear about your Halloween plans. Maybe, I don't know, about some new beautiful Halloween books. And I wish you pleasant remaining fall months. I hope that you still have relatively nice weather, and I envy those who live there where they have beginning of the spring or middle of the spring, because I am not a huge fan of rainy days which we have here during the fall season. I always try to think already about winter. Okay, thanks for watching my plans, and I hope that very soon I will return with these books, but in color along videos.